All right, folks. So, welcoming you again. We have the next chapter getting started. I'm really excited for this session as well because we have a great speaker joining with us today night. And once again, a quick welcoming him again and a quick introduction about him as well. Mr. Amit Pandey. He's an enterprise AI leader and a principal product manager at Microsoft with more than 22 years of experience across enterprise software, artificial intelligence, CRM, digital transformation, industrial systems, and global platforms. At Microsoft, he leads the AI powered seller and the customer experiences, including the co-pilot and the agent based products, customer intelligence platforms, and enterprise sales solutions built for global scale. Amit combines the product strategy with hands on building and has developed multiple governed AI and multi agent solutions focused on human oversight, explainability, trust, and measurable business outcome. His career spans Microsoft, Shell, BD, Deloitte, and Capgemini, with transformation experience across India, the Middle East, Europe, and the United States. He is also a Microsoft Global Hackathon winner and an emergent Y Combinator top 20 Indian builder and a winner of the NVIDIA India Agentic AI Hackathon. Well, it's a pleasure to have you over here, Amit. Over to you. Yeah, Amit, just in case if you're speaking, I think you're on mute.
Hey, thanks. So I was sorry. Thanks for this great introduction altogether and pleasure to be here. Let me first share my screen because this is more
Please.
of a show than a tell session. So, and do let me know if you can see my screen. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining. I'm Amit Pandey. I think so. I had a exorbitant introduction. Thanks again for that, Vishal. But before I move forward and talk around what I want to talk today, basically, we want to talk about AI design systems in action. Now, if you look at the slide or the thing that I'm just showing on the screen right now, most teams can generate an AI feature idea in minutes. The harder question is whether that idea deserves to exist, whether AI is appropriate, or how we keep people accountable when the system goes wrong. In a nutshell, is AI the solution for everything? If it is, what guardrails, what we have to build is something we need to think across. Today, I want to show a practical walkthrough for designing AI products before I build them or before we build them technically. And in my whole experience or what I will just show across, I will perfectly calling across one example, which is a support scenario. Consider any of us or anyone reaching out to a support executive who needs to respond to the queries within a stipulated time or an SLA without creating unsafe refunds or entitlement commitments. Now, before I go ahead and start thinking on, I don't know if you have a chat option or not, but if I talked about a scenario where consider any food delivery app where you are supposed or you are a PM where you have to build a system that helps support executives answer queries in a faster way without creating unnecessary refunds or entitlement commitments. What would you bid first? Just think on those lines, have that, and then we take it forward from there. Now, what I want to show today is something that I call as Robin PM. Robin PM is not another text generation tool. It is a decision support for product managers. And for context, this is a tool that I'm still building. I have built across, I'll share with this community. And I want to get a feedback from this community also. And specifically for this event, I have put it across. What it is there is it's a conventional, not a AI workflow with a feature or a model. Basically, Robin starts with something where you identify a business problem. Is it a problem really worth solving? Is it the right problem? Then it decides with the product manager as to is AI the right solution to that across various pillars and everything. Then we will do a design of that where basically what do the users do, what does the AI rules, where does humans work together. Then we will test the assumptions and de-risk the assumptions that we have, and finally we will have a prototype. The important thing I want to call out is for every stage we would be generating restricted artifacts, and at the end of this session you would have a working app together with you which you can build across. I'll take an example, you can pick any of the examples. The crux or the USP or a single line motto, if I could say, is Robin proposes, but the product manager decides. With this, let me go back to the core journey. I'm gonna share my screen again, and I hope my screen of the product is visible to everyone. If so, this is what I call it as Robin PM, which is basically a system. And if I go across here, This is the first thing where I want to land across and explain. The first important thing is a journey map. Basically, Robin would work with the PMs on five important areas, which is framing, deciding, designing, de-risking, and prototyping. How does this journey work? It starts with an ambiguous problem. Then Robin, based upon that problem, the inputs that a product manager gives, Robin understands what is the problem, tries to counter a debate with the product manager and come up with an options. Then the point comes up, should we be using AI in this solution? If so, in what shape and form? How should the systems work? What could make it fail? And what should we be testing it out? Right evals, market segments, and everything. And when everything is done, are we ready to hand off to design, engineering, or other counterparts? And there are some other features like Ask Robin, which I will touch base upon. With this, let me start with the core journey. And before I start with the core journey, I want to go back and explain again that the scenario that I'm going to talk across right now is basically a support executive scenario where people are reaching out to support for certain queries. The support team needs to respond in certain time, and beyond in that time they need to resolve the queries, process their refunds, and do things all together. So if you really look into what I'm trying to show here is this is the product bet. This is basically the actual problem is the support agents are missing the 4 hour window of target of rewriting answers or responding to queries of users where the data already exists because they have these queries. Under time pressure, some responses may create unauthorized refunds or entitlement commitments. Now, if you look into framing area, who is experiencing this problem? We have a persona here. What do they do today? What should they change? And what evidence proves that it worked? Now, the question should come is where am I getting this data from? Going back into the journey, what we have is the framing questions. This is where a product manager, a user tells what the problem is. Then Robin understands what the problem is. Based upon this whole journey, the questions are asked, and then this is, I would say, formulated all across. I'm not going to go back here, but let me just go back to the screen where I was showing you guys across. Now, this is the problem statement. These questions that we are asking right now prevents us from a confusion, a feature request, or a product problem that we would need to revisit. Like Robin did not log the first wording here, what you see it out. It asked the PM around what the problem was, how it was framed, and should we be revising it out. Going a little bit deeper, you can see the complete details of the questions that are there. Who for this is was there? What is today? Of which what is confirmed, right? How does this happens today? What is confirmed? If there is a friction, what is that friction all across? Is it a real friction? Is it an assumption? Was it by stated by someone? And what is the outcome? If it is confirmed, it is confirmed. Otherwise, it's an open question altogether. Then we can also go and look into the various evidences that were provided as a part of this exploratory journey with Robin. What is the record and everything. Once we have landed on a product bet or consider it as an idea that the product managers have with a little bit of hypothesis that, yeah, I know this is the problem and this is what I want to do all across. That is where we will go into the next step, which is running the AI product lens. Now, here what you look into is Robin evaluates the opportunity across 7 areas, which is user value and frequency, available data and quality, acceptance cost of error, human oversight and escalation, privacy, safety and trust, latency, and non-AI alternatives. These 7 factors remain consistent today across scenarios. What changes is evidence and reason for each other. Like in our scenario, AI might help classify the ticket, retrieve relevance evidence, and draft a response. But a policy, a deterministic rule, or the company rule may block unauthorized commitments, and a person must approve the final answer. So, in our cases, some things may take higher precedence versus others. Right now, these are the 7 blocks. What we would want to evolve, or I would want to evolve further, is when you give a domain, an industry, there could be certain dynamic factors, but that is not today. Now, what is the verdict based upon all of this run that Robin, as an example, is doing across? It is an AI assisted workflow. So basically, the output is not simply saying AI says yes or AI says no. It's a bounded product pattern. AI assisted workflow. What does it mean? AI will assist with a response, but the final verdict stays in the hands of the seller or the user or the customer support executive here to say, I accept this or not. Now, if we will further look, say, like, let me go a little bit more deeper on this, right? If I go a little bit below, what I see is what's the decision evidence, counter evidence, and unresolved. Basically, what it is trying to show here is for this workflow, what is the decision mechanism that this Robin agent of ours or Robin has taken across. Now, if I go a little bit more deeper, it will tell you the various decisions that can come across. Now, as a product manager, I say, I don't want this. I feel AI drafting and human editing is a kind of a rubber stamp. I would want the AI to answer from your context. So for every of these decisions, you have why it fails, why it could be there and not. Based upon this, the PM takes the final decision and says, fine, this makes sense to me. And I confirm the verdict and update my decision. Now, once the decision has been updated, the next step is designing this system. How do you design these systems? Now, this is, I would say, the one of the most signature artifact of this whole application. Now, if you look closely, what is this system trying to design? We are not designing a prompt here. We are designing a decision system around the prompt. And for context, what I'm running for you right now is from a deterministic or a presentation mode. When you give your actual problem, and I'll tell you how do you get an API key, put it in cross, and run a real LLM, the responses may differ. But if I come back to the scenario, this AI system canvas that you see is something where we are designing these systems. This is the complete decision flow that runs across, and every color has a meaning here. The orange color here means that AI is proposing or AI is suggesting a response. The charcoal color tells that the rules are being enforced. What are these rules? These rules could be company policies, these rules could be government regulations that AI cannot bypass. And then you also have triggers and prompts. Like, let's take a case or our flow in case here, right? When I'm coming to the decision flow, the trigger here is a support agent receives a billing or an entitlement ticket, like someone has reached out. That defines when the system enters the workflow. It is not a prompt or is it not its understanding, but there is a trigger, a customer reaching out. That is where the trigger comes in. Then we go to evidence. The system can then use the ticket, conversation history, what has happened earlier, approved knowledge articles. Did we have similar kind of scenarios earlier? Did we had similar kind of customer issues coming across? How did we handle those? Those are the knowledge articles. And what is the current policy that the organization has? And entitlement data. If that's a prime customer or I would say a paid customer, there is a different mechanism. If it is the customer's hierarchy, customer's history, that all play into this. So it does not reason on anything that is not grounded in the company policy and authorized document. That is where the evidence will come in. Then AI proposes. What does this mean? This means AI summarizes the request. It understands what it is there. It retrieves the evidence based upon all the artifacts it relied on, cited the response, and tells this is my response. The reason for this is because of these artifacts. I'm quoting these policies from this artifact that you can go and review, and these are my proposals, not actions. So AI has done that job of proposal. Now, why it is helpful here? If you look into the problem statement, the problem was sellers had to go, or the customers have to, representatives had to go across multiple platforms, multiple, I would say, knowledge articles to find it, and they were missing SLA. AI is able to get that information to them, but it's not taking an action. It is proposing. Then the rule enforcement comes into picture. Here, policy and permission checks are determined. Basically, if you look into or understand, AI or large language models are probabilistic. They will not have a similar response. But the business or industries require deterministic rules. They have certain set of rules. So the rules enforce that the AI operates in the window and operates under a guardrail. So that is where your rule enforcement is coming into picture. It looks into whether we can really refund this person or not. This is a refund scenario or not. In case of refund also, what's the percentage of refund that we are talking about? It's 100% refund. It's a partial refund. What is that? Then the human decides based upon whatever is being presented to the customer support representative. The customer support representative reads it out, understand and says, yeah, I accept it. I reject it. I want to modify it. So that is a human decision, and it's not a rubber stamp. That is going back to the decision that we had. So when the human approves, then the action and outcome is triggered. Unlike when we started this problem where we were thinking of an AI solution, this application makes the PM think around all the workflows. Now, diving a little bit more deeper on this, let's say these are the six decision lenses that we have. Every decision lens is not just a text box. A PM can go and change a decision lens, which further will change the complete flow. Like the input, if you change the trigger flow, the complete flow also changes across. So, in terms very simple, Robin's wording is a starting point, but the PM owns the flow and the design here. All these are editable. It's not that something is being enforced, but it is doing a kind of a Batman and a Robin. Consider a PM as Batman, and this is the sidekick Robin that works with you in very, very layman terms. After that, you see something as feedback, evaluation, and fallback, which is nothing but feedback tells you how is the system being evaluated. Like the scenario that we are doing, how are edit being captured? Are the reason codes, which is the your I would say refund reason codes, being rightly evaluated, sent across, and done? How is the resolution coming across? Is it linked back to the recommendation or not? What is the failure and escalation? How many of these cases that the agent suggested human responded are being escalated to the manager? That means, is the grounding correct? Is the agent response correct? Are the humans really working as rubber stamps, or they are in the loop? So that helps us understand what are the failure mechanisms and how is this system working across. Then you have the data dependencies, right? Like what is the approval state? How is the machine refundable policy? So this is the underlying layer. Now before I save the canvas and move forward, what I also want to show is Ask Robin. Now, this is a supplement layer here which tells you across the journey in which step, as a product manager, you are, what are the artifacts that you have generated, and you can always ask for Robin for help. Like, what is the weakest here? It says nothing stands out as structurally weak. The claims are evident, the board is complete, and things are there. Similarly, what are we assuming? It will tell you what are we assuming all right now. So across the journey, if we need a second view, a peer opinion, that is where Ask Robin comes into picture. And the most important thing I want to call out is these questions are creating a structural loop. Robin can challenge your design, but it will never challenge the product by itself because it assumes that the product bet that the PM has taken, they are a subject matter expertise, and then they will go back. Going back to our journey, now if we said this is the way we want to build the AI canvas, I'll say save canvas as shown. Now the most important thing comes up. We have gone through the happy path. We have thought that this is the way it works across, but a good design is always not enough. That is where we now ask how it could fail or what is the cheapest meaningful test out there. We had hypothesized a loss. Now, if you look into what Robin has done is it has drawn five risks, and the severity and impact of risk is from left to right. The highest impactful risk are on towards the left, and then it moves across. These are the five decisions it is focusing. Let's focus on the first one. Like human becomes a rubber stamp. Now, that is by design. It is saying that the design says a person approves every reply, but people may simply accept the recommendation. Like, how many of us daily read the terms and conditions when we sign up for a portal or a platform? We just read and move ahead. So that is the way it is suggesting. Now it is also suggesting how do you do a test of this to validate it? It says watch five people work through the 10 real use cases, record how many times they override, like do a sample testing and identify how it is doing there. Now, who is the mitigation owner? It says that it reduces the patterns, and secondly, product owner is the decision maker. Similar to that, we have the other thing. Confidentiality is wrong and no one notices. So basically, what it is showing here is the most dangerous error is the fluent answer. That looks correct. That is what the agent is doing. We need to compare system drafts with independent human answers. That technically means if a same ticket comes to an agent and the same ticket comes to a human, how do they respond to that? Wow, how many times do you see a difference in their responses? That is the cheapest meaningful test. And it is telling that take a 20 real use cases sample size person and answer them independently and compare it out. This comparison does it. The last that I want to just talk around is it tested on untested belief, which is right. We are assuming there is a problem that occurs frequently enough. Faster drafting of responses, responding improves the outcome, but there is no evidence to this. And it is challenging us that before you build large enough just on this assumption. Maybe do a sample test. Like if with five real examples, if fewer than three behave the way the assumption is, maybe it's not the right thing. It is also asking you to go and revisit your product bet. Now, for every bet you see, there is an approve, edit, or dismiss. I can approve that, yeah, it looks like a risk. Maybe draft it in our plan. We'll look into that. Edit, maybe not. I don't think so. This is okay partially, but I want some of my meaningful stuff coming in. And dismiss means I am not gonna take interest in whatever you are suggesting out here. So let me go ahead and say I accept that human step can become a rubber stamp. Confidentiality is wrong. No, I would dismiss. I think so. I have the better idea of product and I'm dismissing all. I have accepted one and I've dismissed it out. Now, with this, what happens is we have the product bet. Now, in the journey, if you risk into what we have gone till now is from framing, designing, designing, and de risking. This is all theoretical, all good, all artifacts, great. Now, I want Robin to go ahead and challenge my assumptions. Now, this is what I want it to really work, not as just a Robin, but as a seasoned product manager who comes across and challenges my product bet. So, it will do in three areas, which is product challenger, which is nothing, but are we describing the right problem from a user perspective? And then it will call it out whether this is the right problem for us to do it or not. Pre-mortem partner, which is nothing, but it will basically try to hypothesize why this may fail 6 months after the launch. No, it may not be 100% correct, but it is at least giving you one more POV or a point of view to go across and check. Then you have the experiment designer, which is what is the cheapest way that I could disapprove this bet or maybe prove this bet. That is where it is. And the last is again the AI product lens. Is AI really worth solving this problem or we are trying to do a bolt-in? Now that is where the whole product bet starts coming across. I can either defer, accept, reject, whatever on this one. Like, let me accept this out. Let me defer all of the others and I say I'm not gonna do it out. And I'll say I'll accept this. Once I have done the complete de-risking, the next thing is we have a great idea, we have done everything, but what we do ahead with this? Now, what we want to do here is every discussion, every item that we have lands us into something meaningful. As a PMs, what we really want is to look into whatever we have thought across. How do I validate this idea? And that's where comes the prototype out of it. Now, here the design languages that you are seeing is not merely just design decorations. They all reflect a different kind of a journey. Like in our context, we are talking about support agents. They work in a very noisy area and they don't need something. They need something very focused and trustworthy workspace. They don't need a noisy AI dashboard with multiple recommendations flowing left and right and a overload coming across. They need a curated decision, just focused what they want to do. For that, let me say I take the calm productivity engine for me and I'll say generate concept direction. Now, what has Robin done? It has created a layout for me. It has created three screens for me. These are the three moments. Like before the system speaks. What does this mean? This is where the support executive, before AI comes into the picture, is looking into the screen where they have their ticket, right? This is the prompt is generated from approved decisions, right? This is where it is coming across. For every screen, it has a success criteria. Why would this screen be successful and why this could fail? Like the person can tell what they are looking for. If the person cannot tell what they are looking for, this screen is failing. So before building it out, it is showing what is the goal of this screen. What should we be calling on these screens? And what is the system doing out together? And what is the human decision? That is the first screen. In our journey, go back and look. We were talking about a customer support executive receiving a ticket and responding. So this is the place where they receive the ticket or receive a customer complaint. This is the first screen. Then moving to the next screen, this is where the system proposes. Now, this is where your agent is coming into the picture, where it is defining or drafting a response for you. So for this screen also, you have a success criteria and you have a failure criteria. Look at the flow, where it is saying the suggestion is itself visible, the evidence it relied on. So what is the user goal? The user goal is very simple. The seller can look at the clear draft, what is the agent proposing, why it is proposing on the screen by itself. Can I accept it? Can I reject it? Can I edit it? And what is the enforcement? That is the policy, like permission check on agent's authority. Can the agent ground or agent look into the documents for which the user is authorized to? It should not be looking into. So the user permissions are passed to that agent altogether. And what is the decision point? They can accept it, edit it, escalate it, or reject it. That is the system prompt. The last screen is where the person can go and commit it. Basically, they can say, I approve this draft that you have given me. I reject it out. I will give this resolution to the agent or not. So the simple success criteria here is the outcome should be clear and the seller can or sorry, the customer representative can act on that. That is the complete design. Now this is theoretical. What happens more? Depending upon the vibe coding tool that you prefer, it generates the prompt V0, lovable, replit, or any generic HTML. Let me take an example of lovable. And I can just copy this prompt. And for a sake of time, I took this prompt and had already put it in lovable. If you look into, this is the exact same prompt that I had given to lovable, what the agent generated or Robin generated for us with all the guardrails and everything. Now, based upon whatever we have seen right now, I'm just gonna go and open the prototype and see what we discussed is right now correct or not. I'm a customer support representative. This is my screen where I have my conversation history. There is no agent here. This is the way I want. I have received a ticket. What is my customer? What is the available context? This is where I have it. Now, after this, I can write myself or I can ask AI. We are not retrofitting here. That was our design. I'm saying I'm time crunched. I don't know where the artifact lives in. What is the response? I'll say ask for AI to suggest it. Now, the AI agent has drafted the response. It very clearly tells what is the customer asking for us, what is the customer response should be. Every response is inspected before you accept. So it is showing that this is being drafted based upon this knowledge article and it is quoting which are the knowledge articles. So it is grounded in real artifacts. That was where we were talking about guardrails. What is the confidence of this agent? It is telling my confidence is medium when I'm drafting it out because two approved sources are there. They ranked similar close. No refund amount is proposed because the policy authority is not held by this agent. It is calling very clearly. Now in our flow, we also had whether we can accept it as a customer, reject it, or draft it out. I say accept as drafted. This comes across and send as an agent. Now, this is the journey. If you look into, we started with a problem statement. We hypothesized with this complete Robin PM. It generated a prototype prompt for us, and we were able to do a prototype altogether. So this was not just having an idea. We took this through the complete journey all across. Now I'm going back to the screen where we were building it out. After this, what comes across is something I call it as sorry, I come so as an artifact studio. Once we have done this out, the output is not just a conversation on the screen. Output is basically these artifacts that you see here, which are in a chain. So all the artifacts turn the reasoning into a connected handoff, like design decision, product requirements, technical brief, user stories, prototype prompt, which we just saw, engineering build prompt. What? How do you hand it to engineering? What is the evaluation pack? What's the design pack? Additionally, when you look into, there are some artifacts that are blocked by prerequisite. What does this mean is it's not a failure. It's an upstream reasoning that has not been sorted. Robin shows the gap instead of that. For every artifact, it tells what is the purpose of this artifact, what is the design decision, what is the prototype direction, where are we going, and things like that. That is where we are looking into and getting these response. Let me take one of these design artifacts and generate it out for you right now. Like design discussions, or let's say product requirements, which is not which is blocked. When I click generate, it builds me the complete sections which we have done. It talks about what we have not mentioned as a PM: non-goals, functional requirement, deterministic controls. This is what we have not called it out. If we put this across and accept the selected features, we can either copy the markdown or generate this whole PRD as a markdown. Once this PRD is generated, the next artifact is there. And if I change something on this artifact here, all the other artifacts downstream would also change because that journey changes. That is the way it works across. Now, with this, I would like to go back and just close this presentation and call out few more things before I open up for conversations. Like if you look into what we had done till now, we started with an completely, I would say, give me a second. Yep. So as a part of this discussion, we started with an ambiguous problem. We clarified the user outcome. We evaluated whether AI belonged or not. We designed a human AI boundary, identified risk, chose a clean test, and produced a prototype and handoff. So, if I could take what is the core takeaway from this, an AI design system is not just a UI component or prompts like we saw it. It's a repeatable way to decide what AI should do, what it must never do, where humans remain accountable, and how the product should be evaluated. And last, Robin PM does not replace your product judgment. It makes your product judgment visible, challenging it, and easier to carry it out to design and engineering. This is what I wanted to present. Now I'm going to drop the link of Robin PM for you guys to test across. Additionally, what I showed to you was a deterministic journey. If you want to test Robin PM, how do you test it out? You see something called as Connect AI here. You can go here. My bad, there is a glitch. I'll fix it out. But you can just provide your API keys and everything here, and then it works across. So that's the way I wanted you to present or you guys to do it out. By the way, it's still in the build. I will share the final product with you guys in a day or so. I'll drop it out. You can just test it out. With that, there will be a product toolkit where you can go and test it out. You can generate the PRDs and do whatever. That is the way you test it. With this, I'll take a pause and open up for any questions that may be there.
Hi, Amit. It's really, really one of the best presentations. I saw that, and the product demo also. Uh, yeah. What is the reason you created? What is the you see there is any gap? Because I am a designer here. Okay, I'm not the product side. I'm mostly into design, and it's showing that what is the entire process of the design, everything, right? Also, it's giving the lot of agentic side, the workflows, everything. Yeah, I really like the product and going to look at the entire demo. What is your motivation here? I just want to see because these are the kind of tools I'm also looking forward to build. How the next designer need to use the AI in a better way. So I really love this product. Really, really love. We had a friend circle. We are also discussing about this kind of thing. Now, also, I am the previously author of the UX play cards and UX mastery, where I did a lot of experimental learning stuff there. And this is one of the very beautiful one you created. And thanks for a great presentation. Yeah.
Thanks, Kishore. Thanks for the kind words and great point. Why are we, or why did I even build it out? The first thing is this has been, let's say, burning my own hands, doing a own journey. So even when before human-centered design came in or design thinking came in, if you look into the concepts still remain the same. The desirability, viability, and feasibility. Is there a human desire or not? But how do you test desirability? Like in the modern AI world, building is so easy. If you go to any vibe coding platform, you say, I have this idea. It says, yeah, great idea. We want to build this. Yes, I want to build this. And then you start adding features, features, features. But at a later point of time, you really realize, is this the real problem to solve? Is this something which is there? Because none of the tools, even if you go to chat gpt and say this is my idea, evaluate it out, it will give you, or any other agent will say, it will counter your argument. After one or two twice, you say I don't agree with that, suddenly it will say, yeah, maybe we are aligned on this. How many times do we ask any of our agents to counter intuit it out? For me, the
So,
personal learning has been, I have built AI products. When I built AI products with an hypothesis, like I'll talk about an actual case. We were
sure.
building an agent in an enterprise scenario. We built an agent. We launched an agent to the users. Agent gave good responses. But what we didn't thought is responses and actions need to be combined. Because when you ask a question, how is my customer doing and everything, it gives you certain responses. But in return, it will say the customer is doing great. Why don't you reach out to that customer? It's a good opportunity for us to sell that customer. Now, for reach out, you need to go to an email. For creating an opportunity, you need to go to your ERP CRM systems. Now
Right.
agent stands alone, these stand alone. Now, did we really evaluate that the user needed an agent, or the user needed within their flow an intelligence which could be a form of anything and have an assisted workflow for them? So all these actions before I build, that is what prompted me to go on this direction and build it out, Kushal.
This is really good, actually. It's opening up a lot of thought process thinkings here. Okay, by the way, I worked with Microsoft Dynamics back 10 years back on the Dynamics 365 platform as a designer. Thank you. Thanks. Nice connecting with you.
Okay, so Amit, that was a very great session. I just want to understand. This is you have built an agentic AI, right? Correct.
That's correct.
So if I want to build something similar to in Copilot, so is it possible?
You mean to say Microsoft Copilot or any other
Yes,
Copilot?
Copilot,
Yeah.
because I have my company has the entire studio version of it. So I'm trying to build out a certain agentic AI in Microsoft
Mhm.
Copilot Studio using different ideas. So I have was able to build a certain at a certain level, but not at a great level. So what more needs to be done so that the output that I require, I can get it from my Copilot agentic AI.
Absolutely, Anjali. See, what I have built is using GitHub Copilot at this point of time, this whole application, the UI piece. If you don't want the UI piece, you want this to be mostly a chat interaction and everything, certainly you can build it across. The most important thing is to give the agent an instruction. Now, this, if you look into, is not a single agent. These are two or three agents talking to each other.
Hmm.
So this can holistically be built, but can that handoff happen and everything? There will be slight nuances here and there. What I'll do is this: I have to still build a little bit of AI feature. Post
Mm-hmm.
that, I will on this thread only drop the GitHub repo of this to every one of you guys. Maybe pick up that repo, give it to your co-pilot, and say, look into this repo and can you backtrack this out and build a similar stuff for me and call out what the limitations are and what you cannot build it out. So that's the way you can do pair programming with your co-pilot, and it can look into the repo, the outcome, and then you can certainly build it out, Anjali.
And can this also be replicated in Databricks?
Databricks, I am not sure, but ideally it should be because I'm not completely used the Databricks agent, so I don't want to quote something wrong here, Anjali. Possibly,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, because the concept remains the same. See, these are all the nested loops that are coming across. This does real API calls to NVIDIA and OpenAI, so that engine
Mm-hmm.
can be done. I can check it out. Apparently, I think so. One of my production release has still not hit where that connection of AI has to be built. Possibly it will be
Mm-hmm.
done tonight and I can share this with you. And the GitHub repo, I'll make it public for anyone to use it out.
Okay. All right. And this, have we heard about the MCP? Like, how we can implement that? I was trying to work something around in Databricks about our MCP clients that we basically use to connect different platforms with one. So I was trying to connect Databricks via using MCP with Jira and Confluence. So if I
Mm-hmm.
want to do similar thing in Copilot or any other agentic AI, if I'm using Claude
Exactly.
or building it on my own. So what basically I need to understand about the MCP agents.
So MCP is not basically an agent. MCP is a protocol. See, MCP allows you in the old world order, what you had as with API, now you have with
Mm-hmm.
MCP. With MCP, you
Okay.
can do tool calling, you can do functional calling, right? Let's take an
Right.
example. Right, you want to build this, suppose in Databricks, and with Databricks, whenever your stuff is done, you want a Jira ticket to be filed to
Hmm.
someone. Once Jira ticket is filed, maybe you want the Confluence page to be updated and the task to be assigned to someone else. I'm just
Correct.
hypothesizing,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
If you
that's
have,
my
yeah, if you
what we
have
said idea.
yeah, if you have MCP endpoints, you can always do that journeys. Now, what is these journeys? These cannot be just done with Copilot instructions, right? In
Mm-hmm.
Copilot, also, if you are using Copilot
Mm-hmm.
Studio allows you to connect MCP. It allows you to do tool calling, and there are
Mm-hmm.
certain connectors also available. So certainly with Copilot Studio, you can do this out, Anjali.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Thanks, Amit. Thanks for your valuable insight.
Most welcome.
All right, Amit, I'm just seeing any more folks or who have raised their hand. Okay, Azaruddin, go ahead. Yeah, Azaruddin, you can go ahead. I think just in case if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So it's great session, Amit. I have one question. Since I come from a manufacturing background, and since I can see that you also have, worked in the manufacturing domain in Microsoft. So maybe about the one question. That, nowadays, many manufacturing companies have a fragmented data across this ERP, CRM and PLM. So can agentic AI really scale without first solving this underlying data and system integration problem, or can agent themselves become the layer?
No, that's a great question, Azruddin, and that's something that I'm still POCing it out. So I come from a manufacturing background.
Yeah.
Now, the data layer also resides at multiple places. Like there is shop floor, which
Hmm.
has its own end-to-end data. Then you have manufacturing execution systems, which have their own data layer. Then you have the distributed control systems. Now, agentic AI cannot solve you for your data problem. Agentic AI can ingest data, can bring it across. Like a pump is called PM01 in a local system, in DCS it's called something else. It can combine a lot of data and bring those insights for you, rather than like let's take an example of a shop floor, right? You
Yeah.
have a manufacturing control room where you have the temperature, pressures, and everything. You have local gauges, you have a plant maintenance system, and you also have an inventory management system. Now, if you want to take a machine into preventive maintenance or in shutdown, then all of these systems have to talk to each other. What is the manufacturing workload? Is the other system working across or not? Is the throughput there or not? So agentic AI or agents, multi agents can solve for that, but the data layer has to be sorted. They cannot go and connect with the shop floor system. They need a layer where this data is surfaced. That's where you have this I would say a manufacturing execution system or MES
Yeah.
starts coming across,
Yeah.
where you start putting all these layers across. You have
Right.
this UDS connectors, universal data source connectors, where you bring it across at a common layer. So data has to come to an abstraction layer, and after that, these agents can consume. Certainly, these agents can't go and pick up data from the shop floor. And I'm making a broad statement. In some cases, someone might have written an MCP for a one segment or other, but
Right.
manufacturing is a very varied use case where you have
Yeah.
multiple providers, multiple protocols. Some are standalone, some are on the cloud, some are on the edge, and that's where
Right.
this difference is coming across.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, Amit, we'll take one last question. Think Aditya, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Vishal. Hi, Amit. Good evening. So, my question is, I mean, it's two questions basically. One is, how are you ensuring that the AI agents do not hallucinate at your end, right? That is one. And the second one is, I just lost my train of thought. But yeah, if while you answer the first question, meanwhile, I'll just recollect my second question.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Aditya. So, for us to stop the AI hallucination, I talked about something on evals, which was there. A bit of evals are there. But if you look into the design, the thing here is we are grounding this agent into the cited sources or a kind of a RAG which is only documented at that point of time. Plus, this is not completely LLM running. That is LLM plus deterministic, which is probabilistic plus deterministic. So LLM has been given a RAG source where it can bring it up stuff and everything, but the final outcome is governed by the deterministic or company policies. That is the way today enterprise AI also works. You don't give the complete decision of a customer or I would say a manufacturing state to an AI. It can summarize, it can ingest data, but then you also ground it in your deterministic organization policies. So that allow basically grounds the agent and avoids hallucination. But unlike anything, all of these need to run on evals. Like I've talked about, if AI is generating the responses, let's compare it with 5 or 10 humans who do it out. How much differences are we getting it out? Consider it as a golden data set. Now there are other things also. Is it grounding? Is it citing the right response? If it is generating 10, I would say, let's say recommendations, how many were accepted? If out of 10, 8 were rejected, that means something is wrong. So looking into all of this data, we can do it out. For my personal use case, if you're talking about how Robin PM as an agent is working across, I would test it within multiple use cases, something that I have already built, something that I am aware of, give it a response and see how much away it is from reality. That's the way I would just test it out of it.
Okay, in that case, since you was talking about the data, governed data especially, right? So as a follow-up to the same thing, so the data as such, right? Quality of the data also matters, right? So especially in enterprise world, correct? So and there are so many data platforms as well, right? So you have to have that cross-platform conversation happening so that there's a good the metadata and semantics are properly developed based on which the agents kind of get created, right? So how is that being handled if it is not proprietary for you to share?
Yeah, absolutely. See, the thing is data sanitization, semantic data, the right data. I don't think so. Any of the application is solving that. Is where the context lies in. Like for an organization, before it says we want to go AI, you want to be AI ready. Do you have a very structured data? Do you have the right data sources all across? Consider a simple example, right? You are talking about conversational intelligence these days. You might have seen a lot of products coming across, specifically in enterprise AI, that say, depending upon your conversations with the customer, we can predict whether whether this customer is going to churn or not, whether they will buy it or not. Now, they can't apply external data knowledge on your system. Every industry is very different, very grounded. So for that, you have to have the right quality of data. I don't think so this is solving or any application is solving. That is where the organizations need to invest on the right quality of data, have that proper metadata, and then do it out. Yes, agents may help it out. Initially, we would look into 6 months of data. Now you don't need it out with the way models are evolving, intelligence is evolving, maybe 1.5 months of data, and you do it across. But again, the more the data, the cleaner the data, the better it is, because then you really avoid anomalies and you don't say this was a seasonal peak or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I hope that answered your question. If you have follow-up, let me know.
Yeah, you did answer my question. I mean, of course, it's more generic, and I was looking more at a specific, but then I understand, right? So there's a paucity of time as well, because this itself is a huge, world in itself. So I totally understand in that regard. So thank you. And the second question which I had, you already answered. My question would have been, that AI agents right now, the more LLMs, right? So they tend to agree more with you, right? So that's where you have to bring in that human element. That's what you anyway answered that. So I got it answered in any case. Thank you.
So
Thank you so much, Aditya. Thank you so much, Amit, for those wonderful insights. I would rather say this. Very, very, very informative. In fact, I have, people are responding on chat, also very informative session. So thank you once again. Let me just quickly share my screen, and there's a small token of appreciation, which, the PLF and the IPL has decided. So please accept this certificate of appreciation for giving us your valuable insights, Amit. And I'll definitely share a soft copy with you. Thank you so much for joining with us today. Thank you so much, Amit. Yeah.
thanks for having me, Abhishek. Thank you.
Thank you.